I unironically say Pog, and Nat is like, what the fuck?
It's cringe.
It is not.
It's
It is perfectly
cringe.
normal. It's so
Okay,
quick.
go.
Okay. But yes, everyone, hello. Welcome to episode 5. The first episode of 2023 as well. Wait, no, No, we did Hera's one in 2023,
No,
right?
yeah.
Oh god.
No, that was 2022.
Huh? Okay, I'm very confused. But whatever. Anyways, welcome everyone to episode 5 of Fortcast Fridays with Natalie Tay and I, Styra101. Today, since it's the first episode that we're doing in 2023, we decided to have a bit of a look back as to what has happened on Twitch and just the streaming ecosystem and content creation world in general. We will also be looking at what we think will happen in 2023 for content creators, for streamers, both in the Southeast Asia's perspective and also just internationally. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I am not a VTuber today because in the VODs you will not see the 30 minutes chaoticness of me trying to get my stream working.
Just add it into the bot.
Yeah, just like snippets of it, just me failing to get my stream up.
But if you
Um,
add it into the bot, can you also edit over the MGS 5? Whoa! But yeah, what we're supposed to do today is actually look at 2022's biggest trends on Twitch, right?
Biggest trends and moments, yes.
Yes. So do you
So,
wanna
chat-
kick us off?
Wait, before that, I just want to say, chat, if you guys have any other big notable moments that we might have missed out that you think is pretty remarkable and that we should talk about, be sure to type into chat. We will definitely have a look into that.
Yes.
Because 2022, as short as it feels, I feel like there's a lot of things that we just completely forgot that happened. So, you know, we might have missed out, we might have forgotten a thing or two that happened, 2022.
Tell me about it.
But one thing that everyone definitely did not forget, but I feel like it didn't happen last year, surprisingly it did, is the big YouTube move.
That was the first thing that was really surprising to me because are we sure that it happened in 2022?
I searched, I fact-checked, and I made sure, yes, it did happen in 2022.
But yeah, that was basically a bunch of streamers that used to be 100% Twitch streamers basically being bought over by YouTube, right?
Yes, I'm getting shot already.
Oh, so am I.
So Pengu's asking in my chat, what's counted as remarkable? Anything that is like a huge surprise to you, I guess. Can be personally huge for you or like you think as a whole. So for example, like, you know, YouTube buying over Saikuno, Lily, Luzier, and I'm sure so many other streamers that I just cannot remember right now. Right, to me, that was a very big move by YouTube. I got shot in the bum.
Also, somebody dropped 25k in the prediction for us to get a dub. Oh my god. That's not stressful at all.
High standards.
Thank you.
nothing will ever beat Hera's stream. What was it, 6 dubs?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Nothing will ever beat that.
Yeah, so how many streamers ended up moving from YouTube? They Twitch to YouTube in the end.
Let me check. YouTube to Twitch streamer bots. The notable ones I remember is Saikuno, Lily, Fuzly, and Myth, so that's 4. But I think it was...
Didn't Ludwig also move to YouTube? But
Ludwig was in
the year
2021.
Before?
It was 2021, the year before.
I think that's why it doesn't feel like a pure 2022 moment for me because it's kind of started like in 2021, right? Yeah. Right in the middle of the pandemic.
So yeah, I got the news article. Ludwig moved in... Okay, so he moved in November 2021. So I think that's why it felt like it was quite short, the distance between everyone's move. Saikuno moved in... Well, Saikuno moved is the wrong word. Saikuno got bought over on 2nd of May. Lily announced on the 7th of July. Myth announced on the 11th. Face Swag, I don't follow Face Clan. September 1st, Fusli announced September 6th. So that's 5 streamers that got bought by YouTube.
Dang.
But obviously, Saikuno, Lily, and Fusli are the biggest streamers in terms of general mass audience.
Oh, Valkyrie as well.
Valkyrie was 2019.
2019?
She moved before Ludwig.
Oh my god.
Sorry, 2020. January 2020. Because I know Valkyrie moved way before Ludwig. In between Valkyrie and Ludwig was Dr. Disrespect, Dr. Lupo, Tim the Tapman, then yeah, Ludwig.
But yeah, I guess if there's anything to start this podcast on, it really is YouTube rising as a competitor to Twitch in 2022. Like, this has been coming for a long time now, but I think in the last year, I think especially with how aggressive they've been with buying over bigger names and them rolling out way more features for like their live feature, I mean basically like live functionalities, YouTube Live. I feel like YouTube has become way more viable than it used to be, and I feel like it's gonna continue growing that way in the coming years. But 2022 is definitely, I think, the year when people started to sit up and notice YouTube as a live streaming platform, and not so much
definitely.
Like when it was still Valkyrie and Ludwig, I still remember sort of like how the discourse was back then, when people were like, oh, it's kind of interesting, but like people were still calling YouTube like almost copycats back then. Like, oh, they're trying to do live streaming just like everybody else, you know, they're trying to compete with Twitch or whatever. Now that they've committed to it for a couple of years, YouTube is becoming quite the competitor.
Yeah, and they have been quite active in terms of upgrading the features that YouTube has. Like quite recently, they got
yeah, the guy was just trying to use his harvester to kill me.
As I was saying, quite recently, well, not recently actually, it's been a while, that YouTube had the raid system. It's still a bit wonky.
Raid?
Yes, so you can raid other people.
Oh wait, they added a raid system, yeah, like a few months ago, right?
Yes, it's still quite wonky. When I was watching Ludwig talk about it, it's still quite wonky because like there's a few exceptions that needs to be placed in. Like they have to follow each other. They have to like allow it on some lists. Oh, it's complicated. Like, it's not as easy as just raiding new people as you would on Twitch. But it's still a good move, I think. I don't know what else YouTube has done for its life.
I guess the big thing for YouTube is probably just a matter of time. Like the features obviously have like contributed to YouTube becoming more and more viable, but I feel like what we've seen like in 2022, what we've seen is basically the combination of YouTube committing to this for a fair bit of time. Because the one thing that we've always talked about with like the whole Twitch versus YouTube versus Facebook streaming thing is the other platforms just can't compete right now just because of the type of audience. And the type of audience that Twitch has and they have amassed over like so many years, there's like an inbuilt culture into Twitch that can't just be like transplanted elsewhere. Like I remember when YouTube was first being like considered as a live streaming platform, that was a lot of people's comment, which was that YouTube live streaming feels inherently different just because chat is different. The way that people interact on like YouTube chat on the live streams is so different from Twitch, and once that culture starts to like shift over a little bit more, then I think YouTube's gonna be really, really scary. Scary for Twitch, I mean, not scary for us. I mean, I said this once, I'll say it again. You know, if YouTube one day like becomes the better streaming platform, I don't have that much loyalty to Twitch, to be honest. I'm just waiting here to see if that will actually happen or not. I'm actually quite curious to see whether like where YouTube's gonna grow in the coming years.
Yeah, I don't think I'm loyal to Twitch either. Like, like yeah, it's good. It's a great platform. Like, it was nice when it thing. Still is, but I don't see myself like staying loyal just because. I don't know. Like, if there's a better platform, why not, right?
Ivan says watch Nat get an email from Daddy Bezos tomorrow. I mean, it would make me reconsider. Not gonna lie.
Look, if there is a good deal, why not? That's all I'm saying.
When I think of Facebook streaming, I can only picture those truck simulators. Wait, what truck simulators?
Wait, Facebook streaming?
Yeah.
What part of Facebook are you on?
Ivan says there's truck simulators on Facebook streaming. Is there?
What part of Facebook?
What? I
Sorry.
swear I've never seen a single like truck simulator on Facebook before.
Okay, so now do you want to talk about what we had a chat the other day about Facebook streamers? Or Facebook streaming in general?
I mean, yeah, sure. Because here, let me segue it for you as well.
Yes.
Because while I feel like YouTube has become a bigger thing internationally, right? I do feel that in this region for Southeast Asia and maybe specifically Malaysia, the biggest competitor to Twitch is actually Facebook and not YouTube. Like, it's gonna take years. I know we're talking about like YouTube becoming
The next
yeah, like the next big
competitor.
competitor, but because of the way that international versus like Southeast Asia works, it's gonna take a few years. Like, YouTube would have to establish themselves internationally as a live streaming platform, and then like 5 years later it'll come to Southeast Asia. Because we're so behind on the curve.
YouTube is being seen as a live streaming platform, not in Southeast Asia, but in Japan specifically. I've noticed I've noticed a lot of like Japanese streamers, mainly VTubers, obviously.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge like music culture on YouTube for sure. Especially yeah, VTubers, utaites, yotaites, you know, specifically.
Yep.
But like on a larger scale, I think not yet. It's still gonna take some time. And for Malaysia specifically, it's gonna take a very long time.
So for those who don't know Facebook streams, it's weird because a lot of the Facebook streams that you'll find are like mostly in the esports scenes, specifically mobile esports. So like mobile PUBG, I don't know what else. I actually don't know any other mobile esports game, but like you'll see a lot of mobile
Legends,
esports.
PUBG Mobile, Call of Duty.
Yes, Call of Duty Mobile. A lot.
Even what's it? Arena of Valor. See, I'm in the industry, that's why.
But the other thing as well, which I think you might have a better opinion on, or not opinion, but more factual perspective on it, is the difference of how the viewers are on Facebook compared to any other platform.
Why? Because I used to stream on Facebook.
No, because you had a chat with that person. Remember? I don't know if we should say name. Not to say she's a bad person, but she has experience with Facebook streaming.
But I mean, on top of I've talked to several people about Facebook streaming and their experience with it, because I also started streaming on Facebook, although that was when I was still streaming under the Magic Reigns banner. But there were a couple of things that were immediately clear to us. Like, initially we wanted to start on Facebook, right? It's because most of our audience was already on Facebook, so it only made sense that, oh yeah, if most people are here already, then maybe we'll start here and see where it goes from there, rather than start on a completely new platform like Twitch where we don't even have like any following, right? So that was our reasoning at first. But then we quickly realized that the content that we wanted to do, which was way more like variety streamer-ish, was just not gaining any sort of traction on Facebook. And like a lot of people I've talked to about streaming on Facebook have echoed the same sentiment, which is that people on Facebook, especially in this region, only seem to be interested in one thing, which is mainly esports. And specifically mobile esports. But on top of that, the audience is just very different, I would say, on Facebook. And I'm trying to think of the nicest way possible to say this.
Should I
but-
plug our our Ko-Fi episode that we will never do?
The episode. Why would you plug it if you're never gonna do it?
Yeah.
I guess, how do I put this?
It's unhinged.
It's a very local
I would-
audience there, I would say. It's way
I would say
more
it's unhinged.
local. Like, if you want to stream on Facebook, you would have to speak BM. You would have to speak Bahasa Malaysia, like, to grow. Which I can't speak BM for nuts. So it would have never worked out for me. Which is why I came to Twitch, which is a way more like international / like English speaking audience. But then
Golden
along
BM?
with like the language barriers of of trying to grow your audience on Facebook, I already have a golden DMR.
Nerd, I'm taking it.
But yeah, on top of the language challenges, there's also just like audience challenges. Like the way that the local audience on Facebook acts is very different. And I think it's a similar, same but different problem that you would get on, like, say if you were to start streaming on YouTube, I think. Like the way that YouTube chat is very different, Facebook chat is also very different. Like actually no, I had a conversation with a friend who used to stream on Facebook Live, and they said they literally could not stand it, not just because they were doing like variety content and it was really difficult to gain any sort of like interest from their audience, but on top of like not being able to gain traction, she was also receiving like a lot of marriage proposals in chat on Facebook, which like,
That's why I say Facebook chat is just unhinged.
yeah, unhinged I guess is like one way to describe it. It's just really awkward. And like
Yeah.
I feel like at first thought, right, when you think about it, like, oh, you know, if you're a pretty girl and you're on any like streaming platform, maybe to a certain extent, like this is expected, you know, like this is definitely the stereotype that comes to mind when people think about this. But also like the thing is, when I compare it to how people like act on Twitch, like people don't act like this on Twitch. And the only time I've heard this happen is on Facebook, so maybe it actually is like a platform problem. Well, not so platform
say it
problem lah,
is.
but like, I think just a matter of like the culture isn't as like developed on Facebook yet. Ivan says, I'm actually a little curious about viewership and engagement on Facebook streams because aren't young people not on Facebook anymore? Young being a very loose term because I'm not young. And then
One person?
Brownie says, most of the time, yes, it depends on the locality and trends of the specific country though. Here, Twitch does not even exist. Like, I don't need to sub to someone to avoid ads level. But generally, yes, younger people are on Twitch and TikTok. Japanese, is it? Japanese and mid-scale corporate sort of streamers, or VTubers tend to have YouTube? Oh yeah, that makes sense. But I think purely speaking in a Southeast Asian context, it is true that Facebook isn't as commonly used among this like among the like younger age group anymore. But also speaking from experience, you know, speaking from targeting the anime community, because that's like the primary target audience for me whenever I do events, right? Most of them are on Facebook. You'll be surprised. Like, very few of them are on Twitter. Very few of them are on Instagram. They are mostly on Facebook. That's why Facebook streaming still remains popular and viable here. Oh crap! Sorry, that was NPC.
That's fine.
That's why it still remains viable like now. But just to tangent a little bit, in terms of like what platforms these audiences use, right? I do gotta say that not everybody is on Facebook also. Like for example, while I would say majority of general like anime and gaming fans are usually on Facebook. Oh my god!
It's whenever we don't pay attention, is it?
End of prediction!
Not even.
Holy
actually, no, it's already
shit.
40 minutes in.
I mean, it's only like an hour plus in because
The first game, basically.
technically the second game,
No, that first game was the trial game, no?
I guess. I mean, I was
Yeah,
playing
so-
seriously. I don't know about you.
I wasn't. I wasn't at all. I guess talking equals to easy win.
Actually, yeah, it
But
does
yeah.
kind of help. But yeah, what was I even saying? Holy crap!
Facebook, and something about Japan.
Oh right, about the
ACG scene.
different like localities, right? From what I've noticed, just from doing like social media management for the Magic Rain and stuff, and just like observing the performance of my own socials, I would say most anime, cosplay, gaming fans, like in the most general sense, are on Facebook, followed by Instagram. But just because Facebook and Instagram are so, they're both owned by Meta now, and both of their ecosystems are so linked that although most of them use Facebook, more of them use Instagram now. Like they use both in tandem, but Facebook is still the most popular platform. But then once you go down to like a subculture level, that's when other platforms start to come in. Like I've been seeing way more cosplay and event-centric content on TikTok specifically, which I think is mostly the younger generation who are getting into like ACG. And then Twitter is a very special use case, right? Because I know a lot of people who follow international cosplayers, and that's why they have Twitter, and they don't use Twitter for anything else. They only use it to follow international like Japanese acts.
Yep.
Those who are actually active on Twitter are the streaming community and artists, and that's it. And so if you mainly hang out in like the streamer or artist community, then it feels like everybody's on Twitter and nobody's using Facebook. But actually the majority of people are using Facebook. Yeah. It's quite surprising still. Like I actually, like, as a social media manager, I hate that I still have to use Facebook.
I was not paying attention.
I hate that I still have to use Facebook because this is just a social media manager gripe, right? But the Facebook backend is ass. It's the worst. I hate it. But that's where the audience is, and you just gotta go where the audience is, you know, as a social media manager at least. Facebook backend APIs are ancient. They're terrible. They're like genuinely the worst, but I hate that I still have to use it. But what to do, you know? You go where the audience is, and this is where the audience is.
It is what it is, as many people would say.
On Facebook, you can stream your sick plays at 5 p.m. and then sell vegetables at 8 p.m. Yeah, Facebook is really, really different, and I do see, you know, even with like Facebook's dominance, right? I do feel like, I mean, just to tie it back to our conversation about 2022, 2023 trends and all, right? I think what we'll start to see is like more of a division of audience, right? And maybe it'll become even more prominent than it is now. Because there are two completely separate like streaming communities as far as I'm concerned, right? Like Twitch is one, and the one on Facebook is another, and both don't touch each other at all.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone that like watches or streams. Like the only people I can think of at the moment that's like that would like stream on both Facebook and Twitch are not surprisingly, the Malay community of Twitch. Sorry, not just the Malay community, but the Mandarin speaking.
Yeah, I mean, this aligns with what we know about the audience there, which is very localized, right? And actually, when you look at it, even from like a local language perspective, it makes sense that
Wait, come here please.
it's mostly Malay streamers and Malay audience as well, because to be frank, the number of people in the world that speak Bahasa Melayu is way lower than the number of people who speak Mandarin, for example. That did not work.
No. Continue.
Like
Yes.
I see way more Chinese speaking streamers on Twitch compared to Malay speaking streamers on Twitch. And I think it's just because the only people who would be able to understand Malay speaking streamers would be from Malaysia or Indonesia primarily, or even a little bit of Singapore, but even Singapore less so because more people speak Mandarin in Singapore. And so if just like thinking about it from a tactical perspective, like if most of your audience is already on Facebook that understand what language you're speaking, then why would you not just like stay there, right?
Yeah, it makes no sense to move.
But I think for the Chinese speaking streamers it's a little bit different because there are way more like locals that understand Mandarin. And I think the key point is that these are big locales as well. Like Singapore has a huge community on Twitch, and a lot of Singaporeans are Mandarin speakers. And then you can reach out to, you know, people who are in China, literally. People in Malaysia understand Mandarin. Like there's just way more locals that understand the language. So it makes sense in that way. But for English speaking specifically, I do feel like the divide will become more prominent in the coming years, because we'll see way more English speaking streamers on Twitch, and then even if they start to move to, like, if we eventually migrate to YouTube, it will be that community that mainly migrates to YouTube. And I don't know, it'll be really interesting if we see both sides migrate to YouTube simultaneously. I mean, that's how YouTube wins, I guess. That's pretty much how YouTube's gonna win this race. Person says, I don't have any insights in the Tamil speaking communities. Actually, I would be really curious about that. I feel like in general it's not much of a culture, like streaming.
Then again, we're not Tamil speaking, so we don't know where to go to.
That's true.
Because let's say the Tamil speaking community does stream. What do they stream? They could just be normal live chatting streams, and that would open a can of worms as to where.
Okay, no, I think we're looking at this in the wrong way, you know, because on one hand, Tamil speaking streamers, right? I'm not so sure about them, but if we're talking about Indian streamers, they're all English speaking.
Yeah, but that's the English speaking Indian community. If we're talking specifically about the Tamil speaking, yeah. Like, because in the Mandarin speaking community, you'll see a lot of them playing Dota or CSGO. Then, like, with the Malay speaking community on Facebook, you'll see them playing a lot of mobile esports games. But what do the Tamil speaking community play? Or do they just stream like chatting normally? Because if they do just chatting stuff, that means it opens a can of worm as to where. Because it can be on Bilibili, it can be on TikTok, it can be some other weird ass, maybe even an Indian or a Tamil speaking live streaming app.
That's true. And the
first thing that we need to do is to learn how to speak Tamil.
I mean, the thing is though, like, of course, this might be a totally like biased point of view, right? But among my Tamil speaking Indian friends, they are just not in the community at all. Like, they don't have interests that fall within ACG at all. That's the thing. Like, they are into other things. They're into music, they're into dramas, they're into like...
I mean, have you seen Bollywood? If they have Bollywood,
Yeah.
why would they need anime? Bollywood
Yeah,
though,
but
great shows there. I fucking love Bollywood shows.
yeah, none of my Tamil speaking Indian friends are even in the community to begin with. And those people
Mm-hmm.
that I know who fit the bill and are in the community also speak English. So, right, like,
Huh.
I feel like this is just a nuance of the culture, perhaps. Here's a theory. Okay, I have a theory. I have a marketing theory. A marketing
Okay.
theory. Just a
No, we are not
theory.
doing a Mad Pet. We are not doing a Mad Pet reference.
It's just a theory. A snack theory.
Oh no.
But yeah, but here's my theory, right? I feel it's not that there is no such thing as a Tamil speaking Indian gamer, but that because the gaming community has no support for, or very little support for the Tamil language, that
Mm-hmm.
anybody who would fit that demographic like bill, who would fulfill those like demographic conditions, they just end up speaking English anyway because there's more support for the English language. It's just the nature of being bilingual, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the experience that they have is completely different from, let's say, like the experience I would have as a Chinese person, right? Because I can speak both Mandarin and English, and if I wanted to, there's like an alternate universe where Nat is a Chinese speaking gamer and streamer, and in the games industry I would have the support needed to become a Chinese gamer slash streamer, because there
Yeah.
are games regularly translate to Mandarin, and there are Chinese made esports. Like there is an ecosystem for it already. But I don't think there is a similar ecosystem for Tamil, which is why it's not that they don't exist, it's that they default to the next, like the closest possible, you know, ecosystem, which is English.
Okay, yeah, the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. You know, it'd be interesting if I were to do a dissertation, I'll do a dissertation on this. Oh my god, game dev and marketing together.
Please cite me
Credit.
in the
I will cite this episode. I'll
a
put a
net
time frame.
theory.
I will cite this episode. I'll put the time frame for Nat's opening statement.
Oh my god, can we
I'll do
please, when
that
we
and
upload the
everything.
VOD for this, can we title the stream a Nat Theory?
Not even podcast theory, just a Nat theory.
Brownie says the nature of being bilingual from birth is being trash at both languages. Relatable.
Also, Pengu said something in my chat. Chinese slash Mandarin is kind of a universal language, so it makes sense for Tamil mainly. But for Tamil mainly, they will learn it from like relatives, unlike Chinese, anyone can learn online and go to language schools. In Malaysia, there is Tamil schools. SJK, was it SJKT? No, I remember. But like in Malaysia, there are segregated. Yeah, that's the wrong word. There are separated language
No,
schools for
I mean they do
primary.
call it like segregate, but
I don't.
I get what you mean.
Yeah, I don't wanna. I don't wanna get cancelled.
But it's the technical term.
It is.
They use that word in our government.
But yeah, in Malaysia there are separated schools for primary school mainly. So it'll be like SGKC for Chinese, SGKM for
Oh,
the Malays, then SGKT, SGKT for the Tamil speaking community.
segregated by choice, not by policy, people. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Because I did go to an SGKC actually.
Did you?
Yeah, so that's where I learned Mandarin.
You gave everything back to your teacher, is it? You can't speak a lick of Mandarin now.
Yeah, I was there for like 3 years. Yeah, I was only
Oh,
there
okay.
for 3 years. I wasn't. But when I went to private school, we did have Mandarin classes, but that was separated. So you had the advanced, intermediate, and basic speakers. So I was in basic. Then when I went to secondary, I somehow got leveled up to intermediate. So that's why I still remember Mandarin, but I don't use it as often. So
Right.
I just don't fucking remember Mandarin at all. In my defense, I can ask where the toilet is and I can understand. That's the only thing that matters.
But can you promote your new movie while eating pinchiling?
No, because I'm not John Cena. Why does he know Mandarin so well?
He learns
That's my
lah,
question.
because John Cena's like the the hardest working man on the planet.
He is actually very hardworking.
Like, yeah, this guy's crazy.
Dude's been acting for years and still have time to do what's that charity for kids that can't stay alive for long? That's a way to describe it. Look, in my head, I had a worse way to describe it.
Oh my god, Make a Wish.
Make a Wish, yes, that's the one.
Jesus Christ.
You wanna know what in my head the first description sentence I have for Make a Wish? For when kids are about to die.
You just kept that in your head. Nobody would have known.
Okay, we'll edit it out. YouTube will know.
Okay, now
Make
that
a
you
Wish's
said
true
something like
name.
infinitely worse, I feel like I can read out Sparsan's comment, which was,
Which
I went
is?
to national school and I learned racism. But yeah, we've tangented like really far from our original point.
We have not even touched the second point.
So, TLDR, what have we said so far?
Good question.
Oh my god.
I don't even know how to shorten up whatever it is that we just talked about.
Okay,
How would you give it
recenter
TLDR?
us. Let me recenter us, because clearly Sarah is having some trouble.
I am having too much fun.
So what we've talked about so far is, I believe, one of the biggest trends in 2022, which was YouTube, and how YouTube will likely become the biggest competitor to Twitch, but probably only within the English-speaking Twitch community and largely the international community, whereas it's very likely that Facebook will continue like remaining prominent for more of the local speaking community.
I did a full
that was
body shot.
literally just one trend that we have had so far.
And yet we went on the longest tangent.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good tangent.
But yeah, the second biggest notable moments or like big trends that happened on Twitch was big events outside of Twitch. So the two that I put down was Ludwig's boxing event and second one was Cutie's Streamer Awards. The reason why I brought this up was because it shows that streaming is now more than just, you know, sitting at your PC and playing or doing whatever it is that you want to do. Like, the possibilities for streaming is now a lot bigger, especially after what they've done. Both Cutie and Ludwig, which is exciting. Like, to see streamers doing more than just streaming, even though it was still being live streamed. Like, I think another big notable IRL event that was live streamed was Bubble, Abe, and Wendy. I forgot what her Twitch handle is, but they had their wedding last year as well, and they streamed it for people to watch.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Question, right? Because I haven't been part of the streaming community for that long. Like, I did not follow Twitch that much before I personally started streaming. So I'm really curious, were physical Twitch events a thing before the pandemic and then it just kind of came back like during the pandemic? I mean, after the pandemic was over? Or
I think
was it like something that actually sprung up as a result of like just Twitch growing bigger?
I don't think it's a result of Twitch growing bigger, but I think it's the fact that the streamers are being more brave and, you know, creative in like thinking of new ways to provide content. Because before this, a lot of the big events that happened like on Twitch that will be live stream are mostly Twitch events itself. So TwitchCon, Twitch Rivals, local esports tournaments, but nothing that is like purely doing this just for content kind of thing.
I mean, coming from an events perspective, we've kind of been seeing something similar in just like the local ACG scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Where events are coming back in full force now that the pandemic is over, and not only is it coming back in full force, but it's also way bigger than it used to be prior to the pandemic, interestingly enough. Like, there's a growth in audience. There was a growth in audience like during the pandemic, and now that physical events have come back, the amount of people who are interested in attending events is way bigger than it used to be as well. So I was kind of curious if like Twitch also saw that, like, something similar happening there.
That I'm not too sure, because I don't recall any big Twitch events prior to the pandemic. Again, chat, if you guys can think of one, do drop it in the chat. I will read it.
Oh, Brownie says, Twitch events were a huge thing from way back. It's just that there are a shit ton more streamers now, so there are more third-party events that are not as big as official ones, but still gaining popularity due to the boom of streaming post-lockdown. Ah, I see. So I guess it kind of echoes what you said then, yeah? That they used to exist. The events did used to exist, but they were more towards of the like officially sanctioned variety, those actually hosted by Twitch, right?
Or like actual what to say, esports, actual like organizations or teams or companies in general,
like brand driven ones, basically. Compared to ones where like the streamers are actually taking initiative and organizing it from scratch, right?
Yep.
But yeah, do you see like big events on Twitch becoming like continuing to be a thing?
Definitely. I am very much excited to see this trend being a real thing, like streamers organizing events and streaming it just for the sake of content. Because I'm not going to talk about the Logan Paul stupid ass pay-per-view shit, because that's just dumb.
I mean Logan Paul
if you
also
want to,
I wouldn't say so much like streamer. I mean, I know there were some YouTubers doing like live stream content. Like probably one of the cooler ones was Jacksepticeye did an ARG last year, and he launched it with a it was a, how do I describe it? It was like a reactive video game in the live stream. Like the live stream was streaming live footage of the video game that was reacting based on chat commands. So chat was typing like go left, and then like it will move to the left, or it will show the clip on the left. It's unlisted now, like it's not up anymore for anybody to see, but he did it to launch his ARG.
I don't remember this at all. I don't remember him having an ARG at all.
Yeah.
Oh shit, yeah, I was supposed to be there for it, but I forgot.
Yeah.
I wanted to watch that.
So technically that was a live streaming event, but yeah, I wouldn't consider it really like streaming, I guess. Because Logan Paul, Jacksepticeye all started as more like YouTubers. Yeah. I'm excited to see more streaming based ones. And I think that brings up an interesting point, because we have been seeing that trend even in Malaysia. I'm not so sure about the rest of Southeast Asia, but within Malaysia there are like 1 or 2 events popping up that have more focus on like content creators and streamers specifically. Gaming content creators and streamers specifically. Like I think last year NoizuCon?
NoizuCon happens every year.
But didn't NoizuCon this year have like, I mean sorry, not this year, last year, had like a way bigger emphasis on streamers than they usually do?
Oh yeah, I would say I agree with that. There was one in Philippines as well. I cannot remember the name for it, but I remember
I know you
of
sent it to me.
yeah. So they did that last year, and I mean you can pull up the name if you want. But basically, what happened last year was that a bunch of American Genshin content creators actually went to the event in the Philippines. So the big names were Atsu, Guanto, even Lily Pichu. A few Genshin English VOs actually went to the event as well as like guests. So you know that was interesting. That was fun.
But what else? What else? Other than events?
I guess this is more of like kind of side news, little fun story, which is Twitch's new payout. Right, that they dropped it from 100 USD to 50 USD.
That's right.
Yeah, that happened last year. Only last year.
Yeah, about time.
Right. And also the localization pricing. I forgot that was also last year actually. A lot of things happened last year. Yeah.
Localization pricing. Oh, you mean for subs?
Yep.
That was last year?
Yep.
Again, about time.
Nah. Still has its pros and cons. So kind of 50-50 on it.
I mean, yeah, like
honest.
That was not the only pricing structure change that Twitch made in 2022, but it's probably one of the better decisions that they made to lower the threshold. Because 100 USD in locales like ours is practically impossible, especially if you're just starting out as a streamer. So like lowering it to 50 is a big deal, and I think one of the better decisions they made last year.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But then this also comes with like Twitch making 10 other bad decisions in regards to like pricing split, which I think we also have down, right, as one of the moments for 2022.
Oh, you mean the new Twitch payouts for partners? From 70-30 to 50-50 split? Jeez, that is ridiculous. Even as a non-partner, I still find that stupid. For those who might have missed it, basically Twitch partners are paid per sub. 70% goes to the streamer and 30% goes to Twitch. And it has been like that for a long time. I would say maybe ever since it started, I don't know. But it's been like that for like a really long time, basically. Yeah, they changed it last year to that Twitch partners, your new revenue split would be 50-50, the same as affiliates. So it kind of makes no sense anymore to hit partner on Twitch. Like there is no genuine added benefits apart from like just getting that trademark, I guess. Can't think of any other reason to push for partner anymore.
Yeah, Brownie says everyone on 50-50 is kind of dumb, yeah. And Ivan adds on, never understood that move, right? I think that was everybody's reaction. Like, what is the logic? What is the logic for wanting to do something like that? Except corporate to save money. Yeah, corporate greed, literally, on Twitch's part. And it was such a... The thing is, it's such a dumb, like, tactical move. Because they never fully explain their reasoning for lowering the payout. So everybody just immediately jumped to the worst possible conclusion, which is such a bad like PR move.
Yeah, Twitch has issues.
And then on top of that, they like lowered it while YouTube was rising. Like I feel like that was one of the main driving forces that pushed everyone to YouTube. Like right when they made the decision, because it was like, oh, YouTube is becoming viable suddenly, and now especially with Twitch lowering the payout, like why not?
Yeah, like legit, I think a day or two after, a bunch of people from YouTube, I don't think YouTube official tweeted it, but I think like a bunch of people from YouTube streaming like basically said, don't worry guys, on YouTube it's still 70-30. Like just to take the piss out of Twitch, because yeah, it was honestly the dumbest mistake, and to do something like that. But yeah, then again, Twitch just has issues. Twitch never communicates anything properly. Any sort of like new system or program that they roll out is never explained properly.
I mean, to be fair, I do feel like Twitch has rolled out some much needed features recently. Like shield mode was great. The guest star feature, which I haven't like fully used, is also like a lot of these like much needed features that should have come a long time ago. Twitch has finally started rolling out, which I do appreciate. But then it also it just is a just generally like a bad PR. I don't know. Like, it feels like really bad PR because if they did this any earlier or if they waited a little bit longer, actually no, if they did this any earlier, right, Twitch would be praised a lot for adding these features, right? But now that they're adding it after the like lowered payout and after YouTube has become so competitive, it just feels like, oh, you're just finally adding this now because you don't want to lose to YouTube. And it's just generally like, yeah, so bad.
I don't think there is ever gonna be a good way for that to ever happen. But I still think they did the worst possibilities of everything.
Ivan says it's like, oh, y'all leaving to go to YouTube? I'm about to make it worse for y'all. Oh god, the
Honestly,
ads changed too. Yeah, oh my gosh, the partner ads changed. That was just like the drama at the end of this series of dramas.
What was that again?
It was something, I believe this was only offered to Twitch partners, but they started to get ad offers on the back end that would tell them, okay, if you increased your ad frequency to X amount, you would get this amount every month. But the amounts that they were recommending were too crazy. Like, they were crazy amounts. It was like, play 1 hour of ads every hour or something, and
1 hour of ads
earn
every hour
$1,000. And then people were joking like, oh yeah, I'll just stream ads, guys, don't worry. I'll just start streaming ads, like, just ignore it. I mean, everyone has to run a ton of ads to avoid pre-rolls now. Oh yeah, that as well. And the 55% ad split, yeah. I mean, that's probably the mildest end of the spectrum, because it is somewhat useful. It is a little bit more than I want it to be honest. The threshold in order to hit like 55%. I mean, it could definitely be lower, but it's better than it used to be, I guess. Maybe that's just me having like Stockholm syndrome, low-key. When they first launched the 55% ad split, I tried it out for 1 month just to see how much it was gonna affect everybody's viewing experience and how much money I was actually gonna earn from it. So I've put my ads to the bare minimum to hit the 55% ad revenue threshold. So far it's okay. It's not that ideal, of course, because now people who aren't subbed are getting like, I think 4 or 5 ads in a row, because each ad is like really short. So they're having to watch like a bunch of ads in one go. But the amount of money that you make, like 33 compared to 55, is kind of staggering. Like, I used to earn $5 a month from running the bare minimum of ads, and now that I'm hitting the threshold for 55%, I earn, I think, $15 a month or so.
Oh, okay.
From ads.
Interesting.
But here's the shitty part, right? Because this rolled out the same time as the $50 payout, right? And every month I basically have to earn $60 to $70 in order to pay out, because they take about $10 to $18 in tax. So whatever I earn now from like the 55% ad revenue split basically goes to pay off my tax every time I get a payout. It's dumb as nuts. Like, I don't know if this is how it used to work on the back end, but
I'm not too
like
familiar with that.
it's kind of terrible.
Yeah, it sounds horrible actually. But
Yeah. The thing is, I don't know what would be a better system though. I don't know. Just that
I'm
we
not a
earn more from ads, I guess.
finance.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is why I'm saying I'll publicly say it, you know, I'm not loyal to Twitch. If YouTube
I
ever works
will-
out and more audience in this region like moves to YouTube, I'll happily move to YouTube.
The one thing I wish YouTube makes it easier for the ad system is having like a clear way that, okay, if I run ads now, there will not be pre-rolls for the next 20 minutes or so. Like, they have it stated, but it's so minute, it's hard to keep track of it.
It is like mostly UI problems, right, at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. Because somebody
Yes.
mentioned in chat earlier also that their biggest problem with YouTube Live is that they can't find YouTube Live.
Yeah, I was talking about this with you earlier as well.
So it's just a bit funny, but like yeah, once they fix like these UI problems, which is so tiny honestly, YouTube is gonna get really, really competitive. I'm not sure if this is the year that the trend started, but I think just in general, maybe because Twitch hasn't been doing as well as it, or as stable as it was in previous years, or maybe it's the addition of more competitors, but it does feel like more and more streamers are emphasizing diversification this year. But yeah, like I was saying,
Yeah. UI problem for YouTube. Finding specifically YouTube streams. Like, they
but
used
yeah,
to have that,
even
right?
beyond like, sorry,
Do
they
you
used to
rem-
have
do you-
what?
They used to have that, right? Like a separated section on YouTube sidebar where it just says live. I remember strongly that they have it, but I can't find it anymore. Do you remember that?
No,
No. Okay,
no,
maybe
not
it's just me.
really. I don't.
Chat, if you know, can you just back me up? Because I feel like they have it. But yeah,
Sportsman
sorry, you were saying?
says they are catering too much to their stakeholders in the ad system. Yeah, I mean it's a very fine this goes into like business management and even to a certain extent like politicking already, and
Mhm.
that would be like a way bigger conversation. But I think the general consensus is that you can really tell when a platform cares about its primary bread and butter, which honestly is its audience. Like, these social media platforms, these streaming platforms would not exist without their streamers, without their viewers, and the moment that they start to slip in taking care of these people, then that's where they start to lose out. Like,
Yep.
obviously there is like a fine line because the stakeholders that buy ads on your platform are the ones funneling in the money to your business.
Mhm.
But I do feel like businesses that ultimately like negotiate deals in favor of their like primary stakeholder, which should be their users, ultimately win in the end, and we'll probably see that happen with YouTube and Twitch as well.
Yeah, see, even Brownie agreed with me. They did have it, but they seem to have removed it.
Oh, you mean for YouTube UI?
Yeah, like on the sidebar, there used to be one specific section that says live, and then you can scroll through all of YouTube's live streams basically.
Huh.
Why would they remove it? That's so dumb.
Trying out stuff. You know, Google. Trying out things.
Yeah, which then becomes an issue of like discoverability. And on Twitch, there's too many. On YouTube, you just can't fucking find it.
But yeah,
YouTube,
UI.
Google, so dumb.
I mean, UI design is like the least part of this like debate, lah, I feel.
Yeah, it really is. It's not the biggest issue.
Yeah. eventually it'll get resolved, so I'm not like too worried about it. The payout thing, I feel like that's gonna
Yeah.
become the deal breaker in the coming year or so. I do feel like this uncertainty surrounding like Twitch and the state of YouTube and like the competitors and stuff is, I don't know. Is this what's driving people to start diversifying to other platforms? Or
Probably.
I mean, I wanna say it is. Like maybe it's driving more people now. I know some of the bigger streamers were already starting to do this just because it's a good marketing move to diversify across platforms in case one of your platforms ever like decides to up and die, right?
Yeah, like YouTube
Yeah. Or
or
Vine.
Twitch, Vine.
No,
R.I.P.
literally
Becoming this.
Vine. But yeah, we're seeing a lot more like streamers on TikTok now, and now like YouTube Shorts as well.
Honestly, the one thing I will say about that is just go watch MatPat's video. I think you know which I'm talking about, right? He did a video about Vine creators going on YouTube.
Oh yeah, that was a long time ago. Yeah.
And it's still very relatable, I would say.
If I'm remembering it correctly, wasn't it about basically Vine creators figuring out where their audience was headed to next and then shifting their content to suit accordingly?
Yeah, I mean that's the reason why different platforms have your different target audience, like what we were talking about with Facebook.
But I think even in general, it's, even though you can always just move where your audience moves, it's still good to like establish different audience bases on different like platforms in the first place, so it makes it easier to like make the move if you ever need to. If you ever need to like swap to a main platform elsewhere. I believe he mentioned something like that in the video as well, but it's been so long I can't remember anymore.
Yeah, I remember some points, but I strongly remember the fact that I think that video actually is very good in discussing about diversification of content as a streamer.
I mean, honestly, it's not the first time we're seeing something like this happen, but I'm not sure if you participated in this era at all, Stara. But back on Tumblr, back when Tumblr was huge, basically Tumblr came under a huge ban hammer when they got bought over by what was it, Yahoo? Yeah, Tumblr got bought over by Yahoo, and then Yahoo what's the word, enforced like a bunch of really strict like community rules
that, like no pornographic stuff, and whatnot.
I mean, yeah, that was one of them, but it applied to like even gore and basically like anything remotely like adult, they banned off the platform, and people got chased off. Like people moved to Twitter, everybody on Tumblr moved to Twitter, and I can remember when that like shift started to happen as well, because I was on Twitter pre-Tumblr and post-Tumblr, and like suddenly Twitter humor was looking a lot like Tumblr humor, and that's because everybody moved over.
Yeah, I remember. Okay, this is, I'm gonna call myself out real quick, but I was there, and I remember I was there because everyone, and you just stole my thing.
Oh, sorry. Take it. Thanks.
I remember I was there because on Twitter everyone was complaining about the lack of porn on Tumblr. That's the only reason why I knew that happened.
I mean, just to add some like added nuance to the whole thing, right? The shift from Tumblr to Twitter was actually starting to happen already, because the thing is, Tumblr was becoming excessively toxic. It was the home of so many like artist squabbles, like infamously overly like SJW squabbles, pretty much. Like there was no way for you to escape any of that discourse because it was everywhere.
It's a SJW squabble.
Like there was a huge one surrounding this artist's depiction of Rose from Steven Universe. yeah, that was just one of them, and like it went on forever. Everybody had an opinion about like how this character should look in fan art versus like shouldn't look in fan art, and it just became like
Ah,
overall a really like negatively charged space, and people were already moving to other platforms. But then it was like Yahoo buying over Tumblr was kind of like the
are you kidding
final
me?
straw, pretty much. Where are
Very
they?
low.
Oh,
TLDR for about the Twitch payout because that was the initial topic. TLDR, fuck Twitch. Twitch will take 2 steps forward and like 5 or 10 steps back. And that's the reason why Twitch is failing or slowly dying off as a live streaming platform, because you have others like YouTube, which are actually taking 5 steps ahead and 0 steps back, even though the 5 steps will be like in the next 10 or 20 years. Very slow, but still progress instead of regression, unlike Twitch.
actually, now that we have been talking about like the 2022 trend so far, right? I think a
Mm.
lot of it surrounds the overall theme of uncertainty. Like, I know in general, like, the world has been going through a big period of uncertainty, but I think recently it's kind of interesting, and like, okay, bear with my poetic like literature outlook towards this, but it's really ironic that as the world is finally coming out of this huge period of like instability and a lot of uncertainty during the pandemic and the lockdown and everything's finally like stabilizing and going back to normal, we're seeing the social internet kind of have like a delayed after effect of where
True.
suddenly, with all these brands trying to pivot after the pandemic, yeah, like, and they're making like big corporate wide changes to their companies, like from Twitter getting bought over to YouTube trying to push live streams to Twitch doing whatever the fuck Twitch is doing. Suddenly the social internet is going into almost like the lockdown period where everybody's unsure of like what's going to become the next big platform. But I mean, honestly, like this is a thing that we've seen so many times already. Like as social media managers, it's more obvious, I think, because we're always like on the lookout for the next big platform for the brand to jump on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like
Yep, yep.
honestly, I've seen this kind of cycle happen. It happens like every decade or so, lah, to be honest. In the last decade, like Facebook was the one transitioning out of like relevance, right? And then now we're going to Twitter and TikTok, like jumping to relevance, and TikTok might eventually like go out of relevance. Like there's no um concreteness to social media at all, right?
Yeah,
But I think
definitely.
it's just an interesting space now to be in because it's affecting streamers in a way that has never affected streamers before. Because Twitch has always been so solid, and now that Twitch is starting to falter a little bit, and YouTube is coming in as a competitor, and TikTok is even coming in as a competitor, like it's just really interesting to observe.
Yeah, just to add on about the competitors and the changes, like the only big like shift within the streaming space was just Mixer. And that's because they had, I don't know whose money to buy the big streamers over to Mixer.
You mean just Ninja?
Ninja and Shroud. Shroud's also a very
Oh,
prominent figure. But yeah, like that was the only big shift, and the fact that they didn't sustain long enough just meant that we couldn't see how drastic it would shift. If that makes sense. Compared to now, where like we're seeing not just YouTube buying over, but also the fact that YouTube is actually making moves, sustain itself. It's gonna be very scary, but I think it's gonna be very exciting.
I also want to bring up what Sparsan said, which is it's hard to say it's dying depending on what metrics and measurements you're using when it comes to the internet and the ecosystems within, which I totally agree. Like one of the main things that I was saying when everybody was worried about Twitter, like right when Elon Musk bought over Twitter, and everybody was worried about the platform dying. Like the first thing I said was, Twitter's not gonna die. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
Twitter is not gonna die, and if it does, it won't happen overnight. And you know, even though we're talking about like these trends in what feels like a very concrete manner, I think it's worth disclaiming that whatever we're saying is not gonna happen overnight. Like, in fact, I don't know if it's even gonna happen in the coming year. But this is, however, the way that a lot of marketing people talk about social media platforms. I think it's worth disclaiming because when I was working professionally, like in social media marketing, and we were deciding like where we wanted to post our content and strategies and all this and that, like we would be talking about the future as in 5 years into the future, or maybe not 5 years, maybe 3 years, because things do move a little bit faster. But like we would be talking constantly like in 3 years in the future, because when something like dies, it, not to be like literary again, but social media channels don't die with a bang but with a whimper. But you know, it's the job of the social media person to like observe the trends like that, you know. And I do feel like we are in a space of such uncertainty that it's hard to tell which way it's gonna go, because nothing is set in stone yet. I do feel like even though Twitch is making some bad moves now, they still have room to make right moves down the line. But if they continue, I feel like what I'm saying here is that if they continue the trend that they're on right now, is gonna be bad for them down the line, pretty much. But of course, they can still save themselves. But, you know, who knows if they will.
We will never know.
Yeah, and I think as a streamer or a content creator, like trying to do this somewhat like professionally, the smartest move that you can do to protect yourself and your stake is just to diversify as much as possible. Yeah, just
Also,
diversify, because there's no harm in it. Because there's no such thing as like loyalty to platforms anymore. And I think more and more people are starting to realize that.
That's what I was about to say. My game looks very weird after the restart. I don't know why.
I mean, it's always the first game after the...
No. This is like a graphic change weird. I don't know if you want to pull up my stream, but it looks very weird. Everything looks so flat.
Hold on. I gotta see this.
Just pull up my stream real quick.
Oh.
Right?
I want to call out a couple of chatters real quick. Twitter has so much drama, its own drama sustained itself. It's a self-sustaining cesspool and an information pool that's as fast as Wall Street. Yeah, it's just that Twitter is so huge that there just can't be a new competitor. It would take ages of build-up. Yes, I totally agree with both of those. Like, honestly, the way that I see Twitter dying is a Tumblr sort of situation, right? Where the community and the content and everything on Twitter just becomes so toxic that people naturally gravitate to somewhere else that makes them feel better. Because that's what was happening with Tumblr. Of course it was hastened along by like Yahoo and everything, but people would have eventually swapped platform just because like Tumblr was getting insufferable. And I feel like that's realistically the way that Twitter is gonna die one day, if it were to happen. But also, yes, I totally agree that in the meantime, it would require another platform to rise up
To figure out
and
stuff
make
out.
a name for itself, and in order to be there to take Twitter's place when it does die. But yeah, it is really difficult these days because there hasn't been like a properly new social media in a long time that has taken off.
Yeah, like the only one that has taken off is TikTok, and even then, that didn't really change the way people consume other medias.
But even TikTok, right? I wouldn't say so, you know, because
No, I'm saying like
TikTok was
it's a
wasn't
new.
TikTok musically, and then wasn't TikTok around
Yes.
for a really long time beforehand, but it was mostly used in China. They took advantage of Vine
TikTok.
dying for TikTok to finally like take off, but it was already a thing in China, wasn't it? Was it not? That's what I
Yeah, it
remember.
was a thing in China. No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, even with new mediums or new platforms that's gonna come in, I don't think it would kill any previous platforms. Like how, yeah, like even when Musically and Vine was a thing, when they were a thing together, because I don't know if you remember that, they actually existed at the same time.
Yeah,
People were using both. Yeah,
that's why it made like the transition to also we should go.
yeah.
It made the
I'm just giving up
transition
real quick.
from Musically to TikTok even more natural. Yeah. So that's why
Hmm.
it when people were like jumping on what was it, Hive, or there were a couple others like that were trying to take Twitter's place. I knew none of them were gonna fly because yeah, they just had zero presence. It doesn't make
This is
sense. Like
Twitter.
users aren't gonna just have like make a unified decision to jump to the same platform together. It's just
Get
that
on.
doesn't happen. Like
Yeah.
if somebody can crack the formula of making everybody make the same decision simultaneously and move towards it, like I would love to know as a marketer. Because like my god,
Sorry, someone was
that
on
is
there.
the one problem. Like you cannot control your users. Impending apocalypse always makes people band together. No!
Even then,
Dude, have you watched like any apocalyptic show ever? If anything, it causes more divide. This is
but
like
yeah,
the
even
entire
then,
plot of The Last of Us and every other zombie thing ever. Nobody can listen to each other. Nobody can, okay, more accurately, nobody can agree to listen to one person. Humans just aren't built that way. We're like an opinionated race. Species.
yes. I mean, is there any other animals or beasts that are as racist as us?
Uh, my dog's pretty. My dog's like too smart. She thinks she's a human
Oh
and she
no.
hates other dogs. So like, does that count? But yeah, does that cover the 2022 trends? Were there any more that we wanted to highlight? Or
Uh,
anybody in chat has any to highlight that you wanna bring
in
up?
terms of trends, yes, that was pretty much it. But there are a couple of notable moments that I do want to sort of like voice out that happened in 2022.
Go ahead.
So the first one was Twitch banning gambling.
Oh, yeah.
That happened last year.
Actually, that kind of classifies as a trend almost.
Is it really?
Uh, okay, lah, maybe not. Because it doesn't affect, like, everybody. It didn't affect everybody,
Yeah.
but it did affect, like, a fairly large amount of people.
Yep.
I don't know too much about it, actually. So, do you have, like, a rundown?
Not really.
Ah!
Because I'm not. I don't know. I just think it's a good thing the fact that they banned gambling. Just because gambling bad. You already have gacha games that are pulling in young kids to be addicts.
How are we driving up this mountain right now?
Just why not? Or how? I don't know. It's magic.
Do you believe in magic?
Mine just goes there very quickly.
Okay, just to add like briefly on the gambling thing, right? I think specifically it doesn't affect Southeast Asia too much, and especially not Malaysia, because gambling is already illegal here. Like, gambling's
Yeah.
pretty much illegal here. Like, here's an insight for you guys, because Islam is the primary religion in Malaysia. Most brands have to jump through a lot of loopholes in order to do any sort of like gambling-esque or luck-based campaign for social media or for any sort of marketing. Like, they have to phrase it in a way or like angle it a certain way that it doesn't seem like gambling. So you'll see like a lot of contests have to include some level of like skill into the contest, like upload a photo or answer like a really simple question. Then when you pick the winner, it's not like chance based. It's based on like time or like how fast you answer the question or how accurately or yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just gonna cut real quick because it is 2 hours in and we're still not done with notable moments. We still have a few other main subjects.
No worries, let's move on,
But
let's
yeah,
move on.
I'm just gonna speed through notable moments, just to like nostalgia hit everyone. Trisha is a birdie, the Twitch, the Gordon Ramsay what the fuck is Twitch moment that happened last year.
I remember that.
Tony
That
the
was so funny.
Tiger VTuber. I searched, they lasted for like 4 or 5 months. They lasted a lot longer than I
Actually,
thought. Yeah. Like it lasted more than one stream basically. This is personally for me, Rust battle. Disguised Toast, NA versus EMEA Rust battle. EMEA being the Spanish community, both in America and also Spain and a few other countries, I can't remember. I love that just because of the amount of drama that came out. Because like the EMEA team were complaining that the NA team are cheating, and like there was biasness and everything. So like on the, because it was a 2-day event. So this is the context for chat for if they don't know what happened. It was a 2-day event with the second day being an all-out battle, no rules, blood for blood. You can raid each other's bases, but within the first 2 days, you cannot raid you cannot raid each other's base. Only the last like hour or so you can. There was a lot of drama because EMEA was complaining that NA team was cheating. NA team, some of them were a bit salty. I would say they were being a bit bad manners, but EMEA, some of the bigger EMEA streamers did take it up a level than it should have been. And on the last day, the whole EMEA team just completely dropped. The big battle that it was building up, they didn't participate at all. So that was,
dang.
yeah. So that was like a huge fuck from Twitch's side as well as just Toast.
Yikes.
He couldn't host the event afterwards because there was just nothing else to
The
do.
host.
Yeah. All the content creators are gone. What the hell are you supposed to do then? Elden Ring coming out and all the speedrunners and weird wacky
Oh
people
my gosh, yes.
playing that game.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that Elden Ring was like a trend by itself.
Yeah,
Because
I
even when you
guess.
look back at like Twitch game rankings, Elden Ring was like the one of the biggest titles this year.
Another notable moment, which is the Amareth situation.
The Amaranth situation was, oh my gosh.
Scary and upsetting that it ever existed. But I'm glad that it has turned out the way it is. The fact that Amareth now has full control of everything, I think. It
I
does
think
seem
at
like
this
it,
point she does have, yeah.
which is nice.
And we were talking
Mhm.
about this briefly off stream as well, and I think it kind of leads into some of the trends we have in mind for 2023. Um,
Mhm.
is that Amara's situation was obviously like really distressing and
Upsetting.
yeah, upsetting
Just
and
genuinely
shocking
upsetting.
and all the terrible objectives. But I also do feel like this was definitely one of the edge case scenarios, like I was telling you. I do feel
Mm-hmm.
like it was one of the most extreme ends of what like an where it goes into like actual like abusive relationship overlapping with like Twitch marketing strategies, right? But I do feel like this happens way more often than we think it does. Maybe not to the extent of Amaraf's situation, but I feel like definitely in the sense where a lot of the channels that we follow may actually be controlled by third parties in this way. Like
Yeah.
I was telling you, I think yesterday, that I think with streaming specifically, there is a lot of assumptions around like, oh, streamers are really genuine. Like this is the main image that streamers portray, right? Like unless it's clearly stated as a sponsorship or clearly stated as like a branded event, most people's assumption when it comes to streamers is that they are doing this like genuinely and they're doing it mostly as a solo act. Like they're coming up with the content themselves. They're doing the marketing, they're doing everything, they're like a one-man crew, right? And I think for the most part this is true for a lot of like big streamers out there, but
Mm-hmm.
I think we're gonna start to see like a lot more streamers that have a whole team behind it, where and especially I think with VTubers, where
Oh yeah.
they are getting advice from their talent agencies, from
They have
marketing
like
people,
analysts.
from yeah, they have analysts that they're working with that tell them, maybe you should work on this next because it's trending. Maybe you should play this next. Maybe you should collab with this VTuber next. And I will, there are probably agencies pulling the strings behind the scenes, making these collaborations happen. And maybe things are a lot more controlled than we think they are. And I feel like that's where a lot of we might see more and more streamers moving into that direction, like in 2023. In fact, I feel like a lot of them are doing it now but not being public about it.
Yeah. Just want to add on to that. I think the only big Twitch channel that I can think of, but even then I can't actually remember the name. Is that D&D Twitch channel? Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Critical Role.
Yes, Critical Role. I think that's like the only big production Twitch channel, but even then it's very niche. But we will start to see those type of manpower needed to run the Twitch channel, spread out to like even just normal gaming content creators and whatnot.
I do feel like Critical Role, I think it's a good example of what it could look like, but also it is kind of like an edge case in itself, somewhat. Because Critical Role did it start on Twitch? No, right?
I don't
Did
think
it
so.
not start as like a podcast format or like a YouTube kind of thing?
I think it started off as a podcast.
Because it was already famous before it came on Twitch, right? From what I remember.
Yep.
Because and let's be real, freaking stacked cast, right? There's no way they're gonna like these are not like unknown people.
Oh yeah, no,
These
definitely
are like
not.
freaking Matthew Mercer.
But yeah, we'll start seeing like those kind of Twitch channels. Maybe not so publicly like what Nat said. More like on the back end, managing the account, managing the keywords. The really nitty gritty marketing stuff. Which, as a marketing nerd, exciting, but like I don't know if I want to be. Also DMR here. I don't know if I'm that excited for it just because for me, I think of it as like I have to relearn everything. Relearning in the sense of what are the main keywords, what games. I think especially for Twitch, because games shift so quickly. Like what games would be the trendiest for the next month or so? And I
Like
think
You mean it in the sense of like, as more and more streamers have like fully fledged teams behind them, it's gonna be more difficult for streamers who are solo to kind of keep up with the trends because they're gonna move and shift way faster, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like, if I can hire an agency to do it, I'll be so happy. I just play the games whatever they tell me to
I
play.
mean, that's what talent agencies are doing now. But
True.
I don't think they play. Okay, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong because this is just purely from like knowledge that I picked up from working with VTuber agencies and my honestly my experience is quite limited to VTuber agencies because we worked with a couple of them for TMR events and stuff, and from what I've gathered, it seems like the VTuber scene is very much like there already. Like what we're describing, that's the norm when it comes to VTubers who are assigned to talent agencies. Like a lot of what they do is quite scripted by the managers that manage them, especially the more popular talents or the more aggressive agencies specifically. If the agencies are really aggressive in like wanting to push the VTubers, right, then a lot of what happens is like the VTubers will play the games that will enhance growth. They will do collaborations, like whatever their agency sends them to do, they will do. I actually think it's less so with like IRL streamers. I don't know, maybe it's because VTubers are like fairly new as a concept compared to IRL streamers and like influencers.
Yeah, because it
And
definitely had its start in Japan. VTubing specifically.
so like from the moment that VTubers started, like from a corporate perspective, they were already viewing it that way, which is why they're being handled this way now.
Yep.
And it's gonna, I don't know if this same trend will ever like catch on with IRL streamers. Yeah, I don't doubt that
starting to see
it might
one.
happen.
Yeah, it will definitely happen. Berry Fam would be a good example, but even then, that's a very niche genre of Twitch, which is the esports scene.
I mean, even yeah, I think it might also be that talent agencies specifically in Southeast Asia are so like esports focused right now that there isn't much to control, to be honest. Maybe they're organizing tournaments that they want their like talents to be a part of, but that's usually the extent of it, and they're not controlling like day-to-day content because they're just streaming the esport.
Yeah.
There's not much to it. I mean, not to say there's not much to like streaming the esport, but like the content is the esport lah, you know?
Yeah, it's just that one game already.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But yeah, now that we started talking about 2023 plans, what else do we have?
So we will definitely see VTubers growing a lot bigger, especially with agencies actually taking a place with streamers, VTubers, and the fact that we might even see talent agencies helping out more non-VTuber streamers like IRL streamers. Apart from that, I mean, in relations to VTubers, we would start seeing VTubers more in physical events, like VTuber presence.
Actually, this was one of my points about
Yep.
seeing more VTubers at physical events, because that's actually what we're seeing happening in Malaysia, and not just Malaysia. It's becoming a big thing like within the region, I would say. Although of course in some countries more than others. I think at the moment Singapore is ahead of the curve because I don't know if you guys are familiar with Anime Festival Asia. Maybe not. But AFA SG is basically this or AFA in general.
What the fuck is? I was about to say, what the fuck is it?
Okay, I'll do a quick
Wait, I've
rundown.
not heard of it.
Anime Festival Asia AFA is basically the biggest anime event in the region at the moment.
In the region, meaning Southeast Asia.
Yeah. One of the biggest, but it's most famous because of its big concert people buy AFA tickets. It's totally unlike any other like convention that you've attended, by the way. Because people don't attend it for the convention, people attend it for the concert, and they bring in huge names for the concert every year. But this year specifically, they brought in like one night's worth of like VTuber performances, and they brought like, I believe, Niji Sanji level of VTubers.
They brought in really big names, basically.
Yeah. There were a lot of J-pop artists. Yeah, they usually bring in like a lot of J-pop and J-rock artists. So like this would be basically the only chance for people in the region to watch these acts, because they don't do concerts here. They'll only do concerts if they're invited in by events. And for a lot of people, like AFA would be the only chance for them to ever see like their favorite artist in person. But this year they actually brought in like a staggering amount of like VTubers, and one of their main concerts, the one that sold out immediately, was the VTuber concert. And it's crazy to think about, because the VTubers aren't even there physically. And like usually when they do concerts, it's pre-recorded. But yeah, it's huge. It's huge. It's getting even bigger.
I didn't know about that.
AFA is probably like the biggest extent of that, like the biggest example thus far. But we're seeing more and more in smaller events as well. Like coming from an event organizer, like every event is trying to have a VTuber presence now. But the biggest hurdle is actually internet connection. Because very few venues in the region have good enough internet connection to host like live interactive sessions with VTubers, which is what the goal is, the ultimate goal is. So only that's part of the reason why like Singapore is ahead of the curve, because Singapore has the facilities for it.
Yep.
And only like really big brands that make a lot of money like AFA can afford to bring in like not only the big names but also get like good enough facilities to accommodate. So but it's growing, and the more people do it, like the more accessible it will become, and like eventually every ACG event in Malaysia is gonna have some VTuber presence for sure.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of which, I was about to say, even CF had VTuber presence.
Yeah.
With, it wasn't Billy, it was the other one. Like, what the other agency was.
Go Live.
Is it Go Live? Was that the one?
They had a bunch, I believe. There are a few.
My Holo.
The one in Malaysia is My Holo TV.
The one that had.
But I believe they had some international acts as well, if I'm not mistaken. On top of My Holo TV.
But yeah, in addition to what you were talking about, the fact that Singapore is the main place for events, such as big events that needs proper facilities. This is my point actually, which is the fact that Singapore will be the hub for Southeast Asia Twitch. Reason being is because I've noticed Twitch, not just a bunch of random people, actually have started doing events in Singapore at Twitch Rivals, Super Animal Royale. They also hosted a cooking event that's like officiated by Twitch. They had the bootcamp as well, which was officiated by Twitch, I think. I think Singapore will be the place for Twitch Southeast Asia. So a lot of events that will take place by Twitch in Southeast Asia, I feel like it will always take place in Singapore.
Of course, as a Malaysian, I am a bit competitive lah, but
yeah, I was about to say. So you know, if you want to get that good Twitch networking, better start saving up money to go to Singapore.
Oh my god! But I know for a fact, like, even in Malaysia, there's more and more outreach now. So we shall see how it goes.
I mean, these are just trends from our perspective. Everything and anything can change. Personally. That's how I view
Oh,
it.
that was you.
Oh, no, that's Alice.
Why?
They were just like shooting each other.
Imagine if there was friendly fire.
Oh, dialogue. Oh, Spartan says they
Um,
had My Holo TV and HoloLive. Yeah, I remember something like that. HoloLive is the...
oh, at CF.
Yeah, it's here. Because they had, what's her name? I believe she's like a detective theme VTuber and her name is... Oh, I'm gonna butcher this. Is her name like Emilia Watson? Okay, never mind. Why do I remember her name being Amelia? Is it Amelia Watson?
don't know.
It's Amelia Watson!
You might know, you're right.
My brain still works, guys. It's for our predictions.
Okay, I think just one more, which is what we pretty much discussed early in the stream, which is YouTube growing as a competitor, and even for TikTok with the addition of YouTube Shorts monetization.
I think it's worth talking a little bit more about YouTube monetization because we didn't quite touch on it. But
Yeah, no, we
didn't they recently
we were just talking shit
released,
about
right?
Twitch's monetization.
YouTube recently released their new requirements for YouTube Shorts monetization, right?
That I saw it, but I didn't check. Do you know what the new requirements are?
Okay, so their new YouTube partner program will include an eligibility threshold for Shorts creators. Starting mid-January this year, creators can become eligible for YPP by gaining 1,000 subscribers with 10 million valid public Shorts views in the last 90 days.
10 million?
Yeah, once in the program, partners get access to all the features and benefits that YPP has to offer, including ads on long-form videos. Oh, so actually if you qualify for Shorts, it
You
also
qualify
allows
for
long-form.
YouTube? Yeah, huh.
Creators still have the option to qualify for the partner program with 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 public watch hours in the last 12 months. However, any watch hours from Shorts views don't count towards the threshold. So actually, it's very doable.
So wait, I'm curious. If you get... Okay, I'm guessing if you get YouTube partner, you can get monetization on Shorts. Has to be, right?
I suppose it works, yeah, the opposite way as well.
Yeah, because
oh,
you
wait,
mentioned
no, sorry. Wait,
Okay,
I don't think
so
there's
it's-
any ads. Are there ads on Shorts right now? I don't think so.
I think there is, isn't there?
I don't think so.
Actually, I'm not too sure.
There is ads
Is
in
there?
Shorts, but it's in like between, like when
Yeah,
you
so
wanna
like on
scroll
TikTok,
down.
how you scroll through sponsored posts.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I figure that's why they're pushing for like long form videos, ads on long form videos, because that's still their main currency. Actually, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, it has to be. And it's very confusing if it's only one way.
So that means, okay, this is my social media manager, like marketing brain coming in. But
Go
what
ahead,
that
it's a marketing
probably
podcast at this point.
it's a marketing podcast. Okay, it seems like what. Okay, wait, let me. How can I? Sorry, guys, my brain's working. My brain's working.
Just a few minutes ago, you said your brain's already working.
My brain's working again. Okay. Okay. So, what I immediately gather from that is that creators aren't directly making money from Shorts because the ads are not linked to Shorts, right? They're not linked to individual Shorts. So I don't think
it's
they're
collective.
making any direct money from Shorts, or if they are, it's so negligible that YouTube doesn't feel a need to promote it, right? Instead, the way that, or either that, or they're like still getting it set up, which is why they don't want to promote it first. Because brands do this all the time, social media platforms do this all the time. And instead, I think that's why they're promoting the long form video, like long form ads. Partially because they still want long form video to become YouTube's bread and butter, right? And it makes sense for long form videos to continue to be pushed because they're trying to push even more long form via live streams. But also I think it's just generally like set up in a way that creators can easily earn from ads like linked to their videos, because it's an ecosystem that already exists, you know. I mean, the way that I'm viewing it is similar to how if ads appear next to your tweet on Twitter, you don't earn from those ads. I think that's how Shorts works as well for now. So the only system that they actually like properly have in place is the long form ad revenue, because you can set how many ads like plays during your video, right before your video, right after your video. So I think that's the way that they're trying to push it right now. That's why it doesn't work both ways, where you get partner program and you get ads on Shorts, because there's no such thing as ads on Shorts right now, like in the same definition. But that's just like my way of understanding it as somebody who has like run ads on social media before.
Yeah, I mean that's basically what TikTok had faced, and why they created the creator fund instead of doing ad revenue split, your traditional sense.
Yeah.
So basically, like any money made by TikTok in terms of advertisements will be split like, I don't know, I don't actually know the numbers, so like 50% to creator fund and then 50% to Twitch.
It's abysmal on TikTok.
What is it? Do you know?
Hold on. Let me pull it up.
Because I know it's bigger than YouTube.
Is it?
From what I heard, but I just don't know if it's actually big, like significantly big. I just know it's slightly more than YouTube, or more than YouTube in general.
This is how you know it's dodgy. TikTok doesn't specify how much you earn, what metric they calculate. They just say a number of factors influence how funds are calculated for videos. But I have watched like a Hank Green video breaking down how much he's earned from the creator fund, and it's quite low. If I'm remembering correctly, he talked about like a video receiving like 6-digit views and only earning like $1.
Yeah, so just Business Insider real quick. Just Google it. The company is also paying users via Creator Fund and TikTok Pulse ad program. Payout for the fund ad revenue sharing between few cents to $8 per 1,000 views.
Although the payout minimum is low lah. It's $10. But you know, if it takes so long to earn $10.
Yeah, but even Ludwig was comparing his TikTok revenue and YouTube revenue. His YouTube revenue was way short for like the same amount of views that he had on TikTok, like by a few $100. But I think YouTube has the power to play around with it. I mean, YouTube's big. YouTube's the Google basically. They have the time and the resources for it, and they have the data for it as well. Actually,
that's why honestly, that's why I have faith that YouTube is gonna come up on top. Okay lah, maybe not on top, but they're definitely like going to survive the long game, because it's freaking Google.
Yeah, all that.
And
big
Google
data
knows what they're doing. This reminds me of when people in America, like there was this documentary about I'm pretty sure I mentioned this on the podcast as well before, but like there was this documentary that was going viral among Americans for a while. Like,
what the fuck? Oh, that's a rock alarm.
And it was all about how Facebook collects your data and how they use your data in targeting you in ads and all this. And I remember just like laughing about it.
Why?
Because this is stuff that every marketer knows by default. And like, then out there were like some white people being shocked about it. They were like, oh my god, they're collecting our data. I'm thinking about the last time I set up like an ad. I'm like, yeah, we're seeing your data, alright.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I forgot that it was such a big shock for people. That's the thing. Yeah, like actually, no, that big. Oh shoot, I hit my mic accident. But yeah, now that you mention it, yeah, it's so true. Like I remember when that came out, I'm like, huh, cool.
The stuff I
wasn't shocked by it. Yeah.
And then people started to like spread all this like, did you know that Facebook can track this data about you, but they can't track your race and stuff? And like, I'm like thinking, this is terrible and like very advertiser of me, but I was thinking to myself like, oh, it's kind of a shame that you can't track race. Because that's an additional metric you can use to target your audience more effectively, but I get it because of ethics and stuff, but it was just really funny. Oh my god, you guys dead?
Oh yeah, we have been dead for a while.
Oh shit. I'm not saying that it's like ethically right or anything, but like
It just makes our life easier.
every marketer
as
like has had this thought before. Yeah. Because it's
just
like
makes our life
it's the features that you use to do your job, you know? And
Yeah.
of course the more features that you get to do your job, the better.
Marketers work basically with data, so the more data you feed to us, the better we can do our jobs. And that's why I keep saying marketing industry, or marketing in general, is a very unethical industry. Especially agencies. Oh god, the amount of
Alright.
money that they put in for data.
Bye guys.
Thanks for Game Atlas.
Thanks for the game.
Bye.
Yeah, I mean, with that, we pretty much finished up our foresight of 2023 trends. We can take a break because the next topic is slightly different, which is personal and chum drinkers plans for 2023.
But I do have to like I do want to clarify a little bit on the like racially molded marketing. Okay. I do feel that don't laugh, it makes me feel like I'm like just apologizing or something. But
I mean,
like
you kind of feel like you are.
I mean, I'm not apologizing, but I just want to state the facts, right? This is so funny. No, the thing is, like, in marketing and especially in like ad buy, let me expose some industry secrets, which is that everybody is thinking about race, especially I think in a country like Malaysia that is so specifically like multicultural and
Divided.
even though like divided, wow. Multicultural, but yeah, there are ways that brands are already like segregating by race by like working around the parameters that the social media platforms set. Like, even though social media platforms don't directly target race, honestly, it just makes marketers' lives a bit difficult, but they can still do their job in the sense that they find other ways and other like nuances of the race to target, right? It could be by location, by the language. You can target by language, by the way. Like, you can target only people who have set, for example, Mandarin on Facebook. So if they use Facebook using Mandarin, you can target Mandarin speakers. And then you can target like interests of that race. Yeah, there are a lot of ways to like work around the system, but it's basically like just makes it like it's the same outcome but with less certainty, I suppose, because like I have been in like so many meetings, right, where basically like the ad buy person is explaining that, oh, I can't, be 100% sure of this target just because human behavior can't be like quantified into numbers and figures like that, so I can only assume that by targeting people who use Facebook in Mandarin that you will mostly get Chinese people, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna get all Chinese people, because it might be some people who speak Chinese as a first language who aren't actually Chinese, or that you might be missing out on a lot of like Chinese people who use English as their primary language, on Facebook. So I've been in so many meetings like that, and I'm sure like every ad buy person has had the thought of like, oh my god, how much easier would my job be if only I could just target the Chinese race for my Chinese New Year ad. So yeah, that's it.
Sounds less like an apology and more like Nat dumbing down on being racist. See, this is okay. So the thing is, I completely agree with Nat, and again, this is the reason why I keep saying, marketing industry, especially in marketing agencies and ad agencies, very unethical. Because you are literally segregating people into different cultures, different subcultures, different groups, because that's the group of people that you want to talk to. Like, you won't talk to a Malay and an Indian about Chinese New Year. You won't talk to Indians and Chinese people about Hari Raya. Like, that's just how marketing is. It's very unethical. And that's just the sad truth.
The thing is, if you follow down that like line of thought, anything with capitalism as an end goal is unethical. But I mean, it is. But that's just like the bread and butter of the industry.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And I've definitely met people who, I mean, we've literally spoke about this with Hera during the Hera episode, and both of you guys agreed that you don't quite like the direction that the advertising industry is in because of ethics reasons. And I remember disagreeing with that, but only because I grew up with advertising, like so inbuilt into like who I am right now, that like I don't know. The thing is, these are like, not to get so deep.
Sorry,
but like these are the
societal
constructs that rule our world right now. And if you want to like eliminate the ethics of the situation, you would literally have to take down capitalism.
That is true. Also, I just want to say, Brownie commented, okay, so Styra is over party 2, got it, or maybe an after party. So true though. But guess what? You won't hear this kind of shit in other marketing podcasts, so be happy that you're on us. We tell you the truth. The fact that, fuck
wow. Exposed!
Speaking of 2023, the fact that we've been talking about it for the past 30 minutes or even more, let's discuss about our personal plans for 2023 as well as for Chum Drinkers.
Yes. Announcements time, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. It's an announcement regarding Chum Drinkers plans first, I guess, which is that we definitely have some big plans for Chum Drinkers for the year of 2023. One of it is the fact that we are now looking at collaborating with brands outside of game publishers, because that's what we've been mainly doing for the last year. So we're looking at electronic brands, clothing brands, F&B even, if they're interested somehow. But we're just expanding the group of people that we are talking to. Speaking of collaborations as well, we will start doing more internal collaborations. So meaning with the Chum Drinker streamers. But yeah, we're planning to do more internal collaborations with other members, so be on the lookout for that. Be sure to follow our Twitter for announcements there. Wink wink. Shameless plug. Okay, this is this is more of a me thing. But we are looking, or we're not looking, but we are working towards making content outside of Twitch for the Chum Drinkers, PMR. So we're looking at YouTube and TikTok. We have had discussions about it as to how we want to run it, the types of contents that we'll be posting up there. So I don't think we've added into card yet, have we? For YouTube and TikTok?
No.
I'll give you the links later for that.
Okay.
Because I remember I already bookmarked the name. If you guys want to do it now, you guys can just search the Chum Drinkers, youtube.com/@thechamdrinkers, because people also now use that. As well as TikTok. I can't remember it's with or is it just Chum Drink? Oh, would you like to talk about the secret event?
Yeah. This is still like very much in the works. But the Magic Rain is working on a gaming related event in well, I guess this year, around mid this year. And it's still really early phases where we haven't even found like a place to hold it yet. We're still like pulling together people to work together with on it. But it is gonna be like my personal big project this year, and it's probably gonna be a big one for Cham Drinkers as well, because we're doing our best to tie in Cham Drinkers in a physical way. So maybe that will be like a secret, like on ground / like physical event project that the Cham Drinkers will be a part of. Our very first one.
Okay. One more thing is that we will be expanding in terms of our member base. So if anyone is interested, you guys can drop us an email. We're using email, right?
We have a Google form actually.
Yes, Google Form. Right.
Yeah, the Google form is in our card actually. So if you go to our card link, and go to the last tab, there is a Google form there if you wanna fill in your interest to join the team. I know that there are some submissions already. I know some people who submitted. And yeah, I'm sorry we didn't get to it anytime sooner, but we're finally ready to be accepting more members, and we're still like ironing out like all the plans for it. But yeah, we'll have more info about it up soon.
On
We
Twitter.
currently
Everything is
have
announced
like
on Twitter.
yeah, we're gonna be announcing everywhere. It might take a while though. I think we'll probably be reaching out to new people, and we actually have like a lot of people in mind that we want to personally recruit as well. But I think this can only happen around like February after Chinese New Year, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, because we still have a few stuff on our back end that we would like to complete first. But yeah, even if it'll take a while, if you guys are still interested, by all means fill up the Google form and we will get back to you once everything settles, and we will definitely post an announcement on our Twitter about it. Yeah. That's about it for the plans for Chum Drinkers. A few other secret projects that we cannot announce just yet, because they're still in discussion. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
What about personal plans?
Would you like to start off first about your personal plans for 2023?
Oh, I did a couple of streams talking about this, so my brain's a bit like fragmented as to like what my actual plans are for the year. But I guess my main plan is to diversify, like we were talking about earlier. I've been posting a lot on TikTok and YouTube, and we should totally talk about this in an upcoming episode, because I've been monitoring like how the numbers have been coming in and ups and downs and trends and stuff, and it's quite interesting. It's really different. I mean, obviously short form versus like long form content, but it's been really interesting to observe. And if y'all haven't followed me on TikTok, I'm trying to grow TikTok more than... I guess I should try and grow both now, right? YouTube Shorts, monetization and all.
Yep.
But yeah, I've been posting both, actually across like multiple platforms, on YouTube, Shorts, on TikTok, and on IG Reels, and kind of like been seeing how it, like what the numbers are across the board has been quite interesting. So that's my goal this year, just to steadily post there and keep an eye on how it's growing. And of course I'm gonna be continuing streaming and stuff. I do have a couple of exciting streaming projects coming up.
I know one of them.
Yeah, it's a Valentine's Day related project, which I have mentioned on a previous stream before.
I will hype it up now for you. Chat, you guys will love what she has in mind for Valentine's. Because I'm excited for it for sure.
Oh my god. My problem is I can't find enough people to put in, but I think it's just a matter of like I have to sit and think about it.
Yeah. I think you just go through the games that you've played before, even off stream.
Yeah, it's the
and I'm
off-stream part that is like I can't remember what I've played off-stream. On-stream I have like a Google Doc and stuff, but off-stream I can't remember.
Whoops.
But yeah, I'm thinking about it. But yeah, I have a Valentine's Day thing. But in general, I'm planning a lot more like non-gaming stuff. Maybe stuff where we like do more tier list nonsense. Maybe more like food tasting. I think would be really fun because I had a lot of fun with the coffee thing. Basically, stuff that are a bit more IRL centric since I am an IRL streamer right now.
That is not enough to persuade me, just saying.
No, you don't have to be. But you're welcome to come and join some of these special streams.
We'll see. Oh yeah, for streaming, yeah, but not enough for me to be an IRL streamer.
Oh yeah, no.
Not yet. We'll
Yet.
see. I do want to be an IRL streamer. Current living situations, I want to decorate my room up a bit, basically. Because I don't
my god.
think I'll use a green screen.
Vile flesh tuber.
There's one more point I don't know if you forget or yours.
Alright.
Mental health.
Yeah. No, I was like debating whether to talk about this, but I do feel like it is quite important.
It's very important.
And I mentioned this, I think, last week, after I did the 1K celebration, because yeah, I spent a lot of time like thinking about my New Year's resolutions basically and what I wanted to do this year, personally and in regards to content, and I decided that I'm only gonna exclusively do
Games and content.
that align with my mental health, I guess. It's like the most dramatic way to say it ever. But I guess that's the best way to describe it. Like, I decided not to do any more like challenge runs or like molding content unless I really feel like doing it. Mainly because like I already live a stressful life and I don't need additional stress like for the sake of content, quote unquote. And secondly, I feel like, there's a lot of content that can be made that's not like related to molding.
Yeah. So there's still people around. Just so
And I have no doubt that my content will be like richer for it and I'll be less stressed in general. But I don't know. I kind of wanted to bring it up because I wanted your thoughts on it as well, Stara. Not to tangent. I mean, we've been tangenting the whole stream, so I guess it's nothing new.
But yeah, no, I completely agree with you. The fact that we should not be... Well, I mean, to each their own, but personally, I just won't do things for the sake of content. I'm not that kind of person. I don't enjoy doing things just because people tell me to do it. And especially so if it's like those people that's like, oh, do this thing and I'll give you 10 subs.
Oh my god.
Like, if anyone does that in my chat, I'm timing them out straight. And if they do it again, I'm just banning. No, it's not in my chat rules. I should put that in the chat rules.
No, I
But
feel
yeah,
like
no,
it's common courtesy at this point. I don't know, I think it's fairly like known. Or at least in this region, it's like a fairly known thing. Maybe less so in the States because, or in Western countries because like I have spoken to my cousin about this and he streams primarily like in the Australian scene. And he said it's very common for people there to like give subs and you will do something on stream.
Like, if it's a challenge
I don't
kind of
see it,
game...
like, so often here.
Yeah, I definitely have not seen it as much. I haven't seen that many people do it as much. But, I think for like certain aspects it's fine. If, for example, the stream itself is already a challenge stream. let's say like doing Elden Ring challenge mode, and then like people can give subs for you to do challenges, I think that's fine. But if it's unprompted, like, you know, us playing Fortnite, then someone suddenly coming into your chat or my chat saying like, oh, use SMGs only and I'll give you 10 subs or some shit like that. Like, it's just dumb. It's sad, actually.
Say that like it's not okay in general, because I don't know, maybe some streamers in some like countries are more like open to that, but I feel like in Southeast Asia it's generally like viewed as rude, right? Because it feels very like dance monkey dance kind of thing. Like I throw peanuts, you dance.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, again, it's not saying that's a bad thing. I think to each their own. If the streamer is like that, then it's fine. But personally, I just wouldn't like to encourage those kind of behaviors on my channel. And I think you don't either as well.
I mean, I have several like to link it back to my choice not to do like modding content. Yeah, like Elden Ring specifically, right? Like I was actually talking to Styra about this, right? Earlier today, and I can tell you what I said verbatim, right? Which is that I want to play Elden Ring. I really, really want to play Elden Ring, right? But I'm really hesitant to stream it because I feel like streaming it will ruin it for me. Because, right? And I've seen this happen with like multiple games in the past, where I am enjoying the game a lot and chat literally ruins it for me. Not in the traditional sense of like spoilers or backseating, but with like playing really big franchises, people usually come into chat with like a certain expectation on how to act, and like with games like Elden Ring or Dark Souls or anything, generally people are there to like have fun and watch the person mauled. But I know if I play it and if chat like even goes down the line of like making fun of me when I like lose a boss battle or something, I will lose it. I know personally that I will lose it. And it's not like I can go around and like timing out anybody who like is not encouraging or like not responding in the right way, because people will come into like the stream just because they see it's a game they like watching, and they will expect the streamer to act the way that all other streamers who have played this game have acted in the past, right? And I can't expect to police that, but I also can't I don't think I will enjoy it. So if I play it, and I really do want to play it, I might just play it by myself. And I think that's how I feel about like modding content, like in general. I'm just really tired of it because it's very like emotionally tiring for me to, I don't know, even like play it in the first place. Oh shit, I threw a grenade. I thought I was still throwing Chug Splash.
I mean, okay, so
yeah, that's why I don't. I mean, it's the same reason why I don't play comp of anything on stream.
Yeah. Also, I don't know why this idea.
Not
just
because
came
I
to
don't
mind.
think it will like make good content. I think it will make great content, but I will hate every second of it, you know.
But yeah, just to sort of, I don't know, just a random idea that came to my mind. You can stream on Discord, like a community night event kind of thing. But at least the audience is smaller, curated, knows that they're just there to watch you play and cheer you on for Elden Ring kind of thing.
Do they know though?
I mean, you can set. You have to set the rules. You have to set the rules yourself.
Not to discredit my audience, but they love watching me suffer.
That is also true.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that this is just a way that people like usually interact with this kind of content, and yeah, my solution is just to not do it.
Fair enough.
But I mean, I've been honest about it. My Spider-Man playthrough was like kind of ruined because of chat.
It's all your fault, chat.
No lah, to be fair, like back then I didn't have like very strict channel rules in place. So once I started to like implement stricter channel rules, then it was fine after that. But like it was a struggle back then. But yeah, that's like my goals for the year, pretty much. I think that kind of wraps it up. What about you?
I don't know why it still catches me off guard with my notes. But like the first thing I wrote down is literally catch up with Genshin on stream.
Oh my god.
I basically have not touched Genshin like main content ever since Sumeru's release. And
Oh my
I think I did one main story quest just because the event required me to. Which was Nahida's announcement or like reveal quest. Nahida and the Wanderer, not even the Wanderer, sorry. Nahida and Scaramouche before he became the Wanderer. That was the only event that I did just because I needed to do that do that quest for the event. But even then I wasn't really paying attention to it as much. But yeah, like honestly, I just want to get back into Genshin. Like I really want to learn the lore, the universe of it. And I made a promise not to do it off stream. Just because I don't know why. I wouldn't even consider myself a Genshin content creator.
You're a Fortnite streamer now.
No.
Because that's all you stream.
Sadly,
Fortnite.
have you done to me that?
I mean, it's not my fault that you don't stream more.
That is also true. But speaking of which, speaking of streaming, that is actually the other thing that I want to be more aware of or try to do more of, which is actually finding a balance of life in general. Because for those who don't know, I am back in KL. I was in Malacca for work, but I'm back in KL. Mainly because I will be continuing my studies in game development, because I studied in marketing, always had an interest in game dev, but dad didn't really see like the appeal of the industry. Like he didn't see it being a growing industry back in like 2018, which is fair. At that time I feel like Malaysia specifically in game industry was still very lacking. So now that because he follows Malaysian news quite closely, because he live here, and he has taken notice that the games industry and the game scene in Malaysia is actually booming. He has given me the permission to continue study this night. So yeah, with uni coming up and with other personal financial responsibility, because no, that's not. That was someone. With other personal responsibilities coming up, because my mom is retiring next year, so my dad will be the bread maker of the house. Both my breadwinner. Same thing.
He's just making bread.
he's just in China making bread. But yeah, so that's happening. So I want to be a bit more financially responsible with myself, like in terms of if I ever for like daily expenses, like me going to uni, grab if lunch and food and outside, I want to pay it for myself, and also start saving up in general. 24 this year, not exciting time to go back to uni.
It's okay, you're soon to reach the year where your life will start to balance out, which is 25.
Yeah, but that's like not during uni days. That's the difference. But yeah, so responsibilities falling on me. I still have both my brothers to support my parents in the meantime. But still, I just not rely on them as much as possible. So finding a balance between uni work and freelance work, then also needing to find a balance for streaming as well. Fun. seeing how that goes.
I do feel like it's a challenge that a lot of people are facing at the moment, or at least within our circle. I've seen a lot of people have this like trouble with balance.
Mm-hmm.
Like being able to stream a lot during like school holidays or like down periods at work, and then once it hits like busy period, basically like being impossible to stream, which is sad, but I guess that's how life works. I mean, literally the only reason why like I'm able to stream so much is because the rest of my life is in balance. I'm literally freelancing and like grinding every day to maintain this lifestyle. Otherwise, like I would not be able to stream this often. I think I kind of called it as well. Unless you want to go on more.
No, that's about it. I mean, it's 1 a.m. as well, which is our usual time to end.
That means Brownie's gonna become very rich.
Is Brownie the only doubter?
Yeah, I think Brownie was the only doubter. I told you guys, we've been averaging like 1 dub a stream. And I guess we got it early. And
Yep. Sadly.
oh my god. It's
Brownie getting that big Twitch payout.
25.6k to 5k.
Brownie getting that massive points payout.
Oh my god. But yeah, guys, I think that kind of wraps up the podcast for today. Unless you guys have any additional things you would like us to talk about, or any questions relating to like our future plans or anything like that. If you don't have anything, then I guess that calls it for today. I think that's it. Thank you so much, guys, for joining.
Thank you everyone for joining.
Mm-hmm. Do we know who our next guest is gonna be yet? No, right?
No, we have not
But we'll be
decided.
going back to guest episode.
Yes. If you guys have anyone that you guys would like us to invite, be sure to just drop in a message for us.
Yeah, we're still cycling through Cham Drinkers members though. So if you have a specific Cham Drinker you would love to hear from, we're gonna do guest episode next week. Next week.
What was the tagline again? Fortnite Fortcast Fridays every fortnight in Fortnite. On Fortnite?
Yeah. Wow,
It's your
amount of
line.
commitment to the...
It's your line, it's not my line.
Thank you for joining Fortcast Fridays, which happens every fortnight in Fortnite. Fortnightly.
Isn't that just double?
Yeah.